Welcome to The Big Deal, where we unlock the details and drama behind the business of sport in Australia and around the world. Join me, Warren Tredrea, along with Andrew Montesi and our expert guests as we take you into the boardroom for behind-the-scenes access and analysis of contracts, negotiations, endorsements and much more. Subscribe to our show on your favourite podcast player and don't forget to sign up to www.thebigdeal.au for a weekly wrap of the latest deals, breaking news and many more exclusive opportunities.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Big Deal. I'm Jack Hudson and joining me as always is AFL legend Warren Tredrea. Tredders, how you going, mate?
Mate, I'm going well, Hutto, and we're talking golf, and it's not the Masters because I've got an off-green jacket. It is the fact we're talking about LIV Golf coming to Adelaide. We broke down the Masters, the big numbers. Well, we want to break down the LIV Golf from last year at Grange Golf Club, which was an unbelievable year in 2023, the first LIV Golf played in Australia. Well, we're not far away from Mark II, but we'll also get to chat with a really great interview and an opportunity to chat to Chris Rosaasen, who's the GM of the Four Aces GC team. And that is Dustin Johnson's team. So we'll chat to him pretty soon. But I love the fact that LIV Golf is coming back to Adelaide, Hutto. Grange Golf Club, 13 teams, 52 players, one massive weekend of golf, April 26 through to 28. And last year was an unbelievable success, wasn't it? So YouGov Sport went through all the numbers, and you've got some amazing numbers in terms of reach, attendance, how many beers are drunk, the whole lot.
All the key stats, mate. So 64.9 million in direct expenditure, which is really great. More than 43,000 visitor nights in Adelaide. So that's hotels, B&Bs, everything getting the lot, and that's what we want. And
that's what the governments do measure it from, don't they? They measure it from how many visitor nights. So, you know, the reality is when most people come to town, it's 2 or 3 nights. In this event, they may even squeeze 4 nights out. So that's at least 10,000 people doing visitor nights, and that is generally your hotels and your measurables. That doesn't necessarily go to Airbnbs or all the others. We know that many people in the western suburbs of Adelaide, where I live, are actually renting out their homes because they're just going, hey, there's a great opportunity to make some money. But also, too, there's people coming to the Grange Golf Club, which is in the western suburbs of Adelaide. You stay nearby and you can walk there. It's amazing.
Oh, no, it's awesome the way they've got it all set up. More than 77,000 attendees at last year's event. Now, Traders, I believe you think there's going to be a bit more this year.
Yeah, well, there's word around that there's going to be an extra 10,000 tickets, but we'll soon see, because anyone who knows the Grange Golf Club, and for those who don't, it's one of the premier golf clubs in Adelaide. And it's got 2 courses, 2 18-hole courses, the East Course and the West Course. So what LIV and the government and Grange obviously do is we pick the best 18. When I say we, I'm part of the furniture now because I went to LIV last year. We pick the best 18 holes. So you get majority of your west back, and then you sort of go with some of the back 9 of the east hole. So what you're doing is, because of the space is so big, you're able to have more people than they had last year. And, you know, as we saw, you'd have, 20 to 30,000 people a day. Yeah, and as you said, 77,000 people attended the event across the 3 days. And as we know, LIV is the 3-round event. There is an individual category and a team category, whereas PGA golf or professional golf in terms of the other tournaments are 4-round events. So the beauty is, Fisher, the DJ's coming, Tones and I's coming, and also flight facilities. So 3 big concerts, and they're able to do it, not squeezing us in like a tin of sardines, is because it's spread over 2 courses. So effectively you're fitting an 18-hole course with all corporate facilities and people walking the fairways and around the greens fit in amongst the 36-hole course. So it's amazing setup, and it's brilliant. And a lot of the fans I saw last year on the 2 days I went along were off the back of being into status.
Yeah, well, you hear different people saying Palmer and Melbourne and all the people that are not South Australian have rocked up, but 41% of them from out of state and 37 countries represented by LIV Golf attendees. So how crazy is that?
It's great. And also, too, this is the reach, and this is what the government pays the big money for. And to get LIV is not a cheap exercise. Some people are saying between $8 and $10 million. Peter Malinauskas, when he was elected as the Labor Premier a couple of years ago, I think it was 2022, came with a war chest of $40 million to attract big events. We brought back the the 500 race, the old Clipsal 500, the Velo 500 V8s.
Yep.
He also purchased Gather Round from the AFL that we've seen now go from a 22 round season to a 22 match round season to now a 23 round season over 24 weeks. Whereas only a couple of weeks ago, we had every AFL game, all 9 AFL matches played in South Australia, both in town and regional. And obviously LIV is the big part of the big spending on that is too. And for them and the South Australian government to bring LIV to South Australia, I think it's unbelievable. It certainly washes its own back in terms of direct expenditure. If you're spending $8 to $10 million for an event, right? I mean, you're getting 64.9 return. It washes its own back really, really well. And I think that's what the government's done. That's been really, really good. And then the other bit too, which is the reach that is the bonus, is across 69 different territories around the world, 276 million people were touched by LIV just from the vision they saw, for the broadcast they watched, the highlights. We can all remember the hole-in-one from Koepka, which was just an amazing shot, beer thrown everywhere. Those pictures were worth a bucket load. And when the background, what did we have? South Australia. We had Adelaide. We had South Australian brands, all the South Australian brands, the big brands that are global. And I think at the end of the day, when you're looking at all those videos, I know I was there trying to upload a video. I couldn't get the coverage from my phone. But 55 million views on social media across all channels was just an unbelievable reach, and probably better than South Australian government and LIV could ever have hoped for.
Yeah, I think that hole-in-one did a fair damage to that, and I think it did a fair damage to this. So just under 117,000 beers were sold on site, traders, and I think
and 12-ounce beers too, mate. Not just normal ones.
I think most
big hand grenades.
I think most of them went in the air for that hole-in-one.
Yeah, it was the watering hole was amazing. It was an unbelievable experience. Being so close to the best players in the world, having a beer, and experiencing what Adelaide had never seen before. And the other thing too is there are still tickets available on certain tickets available on a Friday and a Sunday, just if you want to walk around. I've done it with my family, so I'll be doing that certainly this coming week. But as we said, 23,000 units of LIV Golf merchandise was sold. There's a story going around, there's some information going around to suggest that it's going to be double the size last year because the merchandise just went off the shelf so quick it wasn't funny. And even my son's wearing a Four Aces hat, walking around the house in the middle of winter going to a footy game. So I think that's great. People want to share their experience. And how often do we just go, get me one of those, a new golf hat or a new T-shirt or a beanie or something that just resembles the experience and the wonderful experience we've had.
Yeah, it's literally what the old man does every time there's something new golf comes out. He buys something.
Why not? Saves leaving it to you in the will. But this is what I find. We talk about how good this event was, Hutto. LIV Golf Adelaide last year won the world's best golf event of 2023 at the World Golf Awards. And the fact that a LIV event got presented that is against the chain of the PGA versus LIV fight and all the things that are going on. But the best thing about it is that anyone who loves golf, and golf participation's gone through the roof again, obviously since COVID lockdown, people were caught in their borders. Now we're able to go to Adelaide or for me to, walk 2Ks, pay a ticket and go and watch the best golf players in the world, right? These names are the best there is. Cam Smith, Bryson DeChambeau, Taylor Gooch, Brooks Koepka, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, Martin Keimer, and now the big name recruit and up until recently the former Masters winner, Jon Rahm. So there's probably 20 major winners there. So talk about the quality. The quality's on the doorstep.
Yeah, and the big names keep rolling in. And Treaders, we've got our special guest from the Four Aces GC, the General Manager, Chris Rosaasen. And joining us now on the big deal is Four Aces General Manager, Chris Rosaasen. Chris, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, great. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, LIV Golf coming to Adelaide. How exciting is it to be, coming to South Australia?
Hey, I was there last year for the inaugural kickoff, and I've had it on my calendar the whole year coming back. We can't wait.
Now, obviously, you're excited. The players excited too, because for us Aussies, we've been starved of golf a little bit. The old Aussie Open used to be seen as the fifth major back in the 70s and 80s. But what I saw and witnessed personally at LIV last year at the Grange Golf Club was to be seen to be believed, because it was just unbelievable on every front.
Yes, I mean, talking with our guys, I have a couple players on my team that have played Ryder Cups, all the majors, and they're extremely excited about it. They said the energy out there was, unmatched. They've been talking about it ever since. So this one, like I said, has been on their calendar, been on my calendar. We can't wait to get out there.
For yourself, Chris, relatively new into the role of GM. How are you finding it so far?
You know what? It's been a lot of fun. It's something I wasn't, necessarily planning on, taking on this role a year ago, and it was something that naturally came about between Dustin and I. And you know what? It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. So kind of excited about embarking on a new frontier in golf.
Now, Chris, personally, a former CEO of Travis Matthew Men's and Women's Golf Clothing, your golfing history probably goes back a fair way. And is that how you got involved with Four Aces, through your close association with Dustin Johnson?
Yeah. The golf world's quite small. So, I've known Dustin for a while. I was involved with LIV with my apparel background, doing manufacturing for all the merchandise that was in the tent. And then I had an apparel company, Extracurricular, that was a sponsor of the Four Aces. And then DJ came to me and asked me to be GM of the team. So, when you're creating a team in the early stages right now, it's really creating a brand. And that's what I've done my whole career, is create brands. So after I stepped back and thought about it, I was like, this actually really is a good fit, coming in to be GM of the Four Aces and kind of curating this brand into, what it's going to be, and hopefully it looks like, many years down the road.
One of the great things to watch about LIV Golf is that it challenges the status quo. So building that brand identity, like, how are you going about that?
Man, that's it's a good question. It's, I equate it to, in the US, we have sports franchises like Major League Baseball, the Lakers, NFL, and listen, there's the Dallas Cowboys and there's the Cleveland Browns, and they have completely different identities, go after different sponsors. So that's how I look at it as far as with golf. I grew up a Laker fan. They brought Showtime to basketball. And I'd like, to have the Aces, take on a look of the, something like the Lakers.
Now, Chris, you touched on obviously your role now, but obviously LIV starts with the backing of the Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. But just to give us an insight, obviously they've gone into numerous different sports: F1, boxing, football, as we call it, soccer here, and golf. And then we see Greg Norman obviously being involved in the startup. Is it fair to say you guys are like a franchise for people to understand how it works, and then you run your own business under the LIV banner?
Yeah, that's correct. Obviously LIV is the one that's come in and put the funding behind this. The way our franchise is structured is Dustin has ownership in the team, and so does LIV. My job is to, go and grow and monetize this team. And then, the long-term play is to sell these sports franchises to investors. So, my job right now is to try to make this a valuable sports franchise. And that's really done through, sponsorship revenue, apparel, merchandise sales, and team prize money. It's kind of how it comprises.
And you're firmly of the belief that it's going to be profitable relatively soon, Chris. Is that right?
If I do my job right, correct. I mean,
how has it been when you look at the challenger against the PGA Tour? We see all the media, but there's been unbelievable support, and it depends which side of the fence you sit on. Some people will say, "Oh no, we'll be gone," but LIV's not going anywhere anytime soon, is what we saw in South Australia and Adelaide at Grange Golf Course last year. How have you seen that growth? And obviously there's in confidence sort of your numbers and stuff, but in your time from the outside doing a bit of apparel work and working with LIV to now being inside the tent, what's surprised you the most?
You know what? I think that first off, I think it's growing by people getting exposed to it. And I'm going to tell you, I was the first one when I had heard about LIV and, before I'd gone to an event, I have to say I was somewhat skeptical. I went to the first US event, which was in Portland, and I came away from that being blown away from the event experience, whether it's hospitality to getting behind the team format of golf. So I would say, listen, there's a lot of skeptics. I think a lot of people that are skeptics haven't seen it in person, and you have to go check it out, see it in person. give it a chance, watch it on TV. But after you experience what LIV is in person, it's, I think it's the future of what golf is.
So yourself, like you were captivated yourself by LIV Golf, but so how do you sort of bring that to sponsors that you might want to bring in yourself going, this is what I experienced, I want you to experience that too?
Yeah, well, I guess, the first pitch is you get 4 for the price of 1. The traditional golf model is you pick a player and you sponsor them. And if they don't play well that week and they miss the cut, you're not getting TV time. We got 4 guys that usually one of them is up there on the leaderboard. 2, you have 2 different competitions going on. So we've had tournaments that the 4 aces have won that we haven't had a player that's been in the top 5, but we still get a lot of TV time that way as well. So 4 for the price of 1 and 2 different competitions going on at the same time is something that I send to sponsors as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously that TV discussion too, being the challenger brand, you'll be able to stream stuff, you're able to get to different eyeballs. And just to go back nearly 12 months, we're on the verge of the Adelaide tournament Mark II. When the hole-in-one goes, the beers are thrown onto the green, the place is exploding like it's a nightclub. In the middle of the day on a golf course, what has that done for the awareness and the brand? Because I assume that just went viral like LIV probably didn't even imagine.
I don't think that they couldn't imagine what was going to happen there. And it's so funny. I, sit on social and read comments, and right after that had happened, people were trying to, the haters on LIV were trying to say that it was staged and it was fake, which is crazy. But these are more moments that you can't make up. That energy, the reaction, what the crowd did, everything else. It's like, it's priceless. And I think that hole brought so much fun and so much energy. I don't know if you guys, saw or remember the putt Pat Perez made, but like you can't make up that type of emotion that he had, and him talking about it afterwards. He's like, that's one of my, highlights of my career, having that go in and, the energy around in that stadium.
The energy around it is quite more of a youthful sort of crowd these days, opposed to the traditional, probably the older golfer crowd. How good is that for bringing in different, probably different sponsors, different fans? How great is that for you guys?
Oh, absolutely. I think it opens up a whole different demographic, and it really, as I start to go out and, put my hit list together of the sponsors that we want to go after, it opens up things tremendously. The other thing is LIV is making golf global too, where PGA Tour, you're really going after US-based companies. It doesn't make sense to go after, European, Asian, Australian companies that, we're not getting much exposure there. So, the Rolodex becomes a lot larger with, LIV and its global exposure.
Well, we saw within probably a week and a half, we're going to go from the Masters green, where everything is well behaved and nice little sandwiches and green jackets, to throwing beers at Grange Golf Course. What does that do? Is that just awareness, and from the player's perspective, is that excitement, the fact that you get something different and something so different than they've ever known?
Yeah, I sure think so. I can't talk because I'm not a player. I know that from talking with, the players on my team and, other players that I'm friends with out there, they're really excited for this. It's something, I don't know if they would want that level of excitement and crowd enthusiasm every week. Maybe so. But I think it's something it's great for golf. It's a different environment. It's a energy that, once again, you guys were there, you experienced it, but it's palpable. It's something pretty special.
Obviously TikTok, Instagram Reels, all that sort of stuff is huge with the younger audience these days. How much sort of do you focus on that social media investment for you guys?
Yeah, that's something we're, really starting to focus on a lot right now. It's funny, I'm probably on the older side of the demographic now. So
like we are.
I recently signed up and got a TikTok account. But we have a team that works full time for the 4 Aces. That is our social media team, videographer, editor, etc. So those are things that we're going after because it's looking in new directions, and in a younger audience. And it pains me to say, but I'm past that now. We got, the guys that are running that are quite a bit younger, and it is, YouTube golf has become a major marketplace and a big business now. And it's something we're trying to be authentic to who our players are. We're not going out there and trying to be YouTube stars and doing, pickups at, pickup games at municipal golf courses, but trying to expose to a different audience who the 4 Aces are and who LIV Golf is.
Now, Chris, who are the 4 Aces? Because we know there's 4 wonderful golfers: Dustin Johnson, Pat Perez, Pat Reed, and Harold Varner III. But you're obviously the general manager. How big's your team? How many people? And can you give us some of the insight, a little insight in terms of the turnover? Because we're seeing $1 million sponsorships signed, multi-million-dollar sponsorships signed. And how big a business is it now for you, and how big is your team that runs it?
So the team that runs it right now, it's fairly small, but we are growing. It's myself as the general manager. We have a team manager that really handles all the day-to-day needs of the players, travel, logistics, everything else. We have the social media guys that are videographer, editor. And then we are in the process of interviewing for a commercial officer to come in and just drive revenue. So that's what our team consists of now. We have offices we recently opened in West Palm Beach. And then LIV provides a shared service model for a lot of things that we'll eventually bring in-house, but whether it's HR, accounting, any type of the back house stuff that just it's nice to have right now. Like I said, in another couple of years, we'll probably bring all that in-house, but lets us focus on growing the business and not, growing the business as a whole, I should say, and not the small intricacies, of a startup.
One of the big talking points from any LIV team is the player contracts. How does it sort of work? Is it LIV negotiates with the players, or do the teams negotiate with the players? How does it sort of all unfold?
That's a great question. Until now, it's been a lot more LIV negotiating the teams. I have not been involved. I came on at the first of the year, so I have not been involved in any of the trades. There was quite a big one this last offseason involving the 4 aces. I was not a part of that. But it is fun in sitting and talking with Dustin, and it's like strategizing, what does the team, look like next year? But more importantly, like, what does it look like 5 years from now? We have guys on the team that I don't think are going to be offended when I say they're probably not going to be playing 5 years from now. So there's definitely we're going to be forced to be able to make some replacements. Also, it's, how the 4 guys gel and get together or get along together too. So that's what excites me, is the recruitment of players. As salaries start to come into play too, if there's a guy that's playing really well on another team and we're in the hunt for the team championship towards the end of the season, it might be worth us spending some money to go recruit him to get him on the team for somebody that isn't playing as well. So those are all the things. The league is really starting to, form itself. They're announcing when the free agency period is coming up in the next couple months. So all of it's kind of, it's all fluid right now, but it's it's the new frontier of golf.
And an Aussie legend, Greg Norman, who was walking the fairways last year, he's obviously involved in the acquisition side. If, when Dustin Johnson chose to join, 2.5 years ago, he would have been the one he spoke to. So I guess it's always, he's working overtime to create the players and create the concept and then grow the concept. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Greg's definitely leading the way on player recruitment. He's the one that, the reason why LIV is what it is. So 100%. And it's very cool. I've gotten to know Greg a lot more in the last couple months, and his enthusiasm, his love for what LIV is, and what he wants it to become it's very cool to be a part of.
We touch on that stuff. And I'll probably know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Is there a salary cap?
They have not established a salary cap yet. I'm assuming there will be at some point, but no, not to my knowledge.
Yeah. And also too, is it a space of growth where you're looking at the next options, the next players to come in, or is it simply a fact from the team that's all about growth and about getting your guys sinking and performing?
Right now, I'm focusing on my guys. I think it's a little too premature to be looking outside of that. As we get the team more established, that will be things I think that we'll start to pay more attention to. But I'm happy with the squad I got right now. We're off to maybe a little slower start than what we wanted to this year, but we're coming in as defending champions, and there's a lot of golf to play, and we have every intention on being the team champions this year.
Now, do you get to experience much of South Australia while you're here? Obviously, fly in. You've also got your tournament, and we know that there's as with LIV, there's Fisher and a heap of different flight facilities and a few other Tones and I performing late at night. Do the players get involved in that?
You won't see too many of the players doing that. I think one of the other myths, that's out there is that they came and they're playing for so much money that they don't care about it. That's not true. They're in bed early. They're focused on going out there and winning. They're still playing for a lot of money every week, and they're taking it serious. Now, myself and some of the other management staff, I will 100% be at Fisher. That's too good to miss.
Well, now you're saying that, are you going to? This is stuff that's probably a bit left field. We've got a lot of great white sharks down here. The South Australian Tourism Commission's involved, and the government's obviously bringing LIV to town. We've also got things like frog cakes, whether you want to try that or not. A pie floater, which is pie and pea soup. We've got all these different types of local brewers. I'm sure you'll go home feeling quite challenged with the local diet and the different experiences that we may have offer here. And we also have Penfolds and Jacobs Creek wine. So if you say you're up to Fisher, you've got to be up for those too.
Hey, I'm game.
Yeah, and some good news too that for our podcast listeners, there are some tickets available for I think Friday and Sunday too. So I know that certainly I'll be walking the fairways. We appreciate your time, Chris. Good luck to the four aces, and get the job down. Get the job done down under.
All right, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Chris. Thanks for your time, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Big Deal. Before you go, don't forget to join our community by subscribing for free at www.thebigdeal.au and get a weekly email bringing together the hottest sports deals, breaking sports biz news, as it happens, and much more. Join me at www.thebigdeal.au.